What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to the channel. So yesterday came with some crazy news on a brand new Premier League rule that could be coming into effect next season if it is voted in, of course, and this is going to be absolutely huge. I talked about it in a little short yesterday, and I did say that I would go into it in more detail in a video today. So here it is. The Premier League are talking about bringing in an American style, NBA style, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball style of financial system into the Premier League. This could be hugely beneficial, as I talked about yesterday in, of course, the short. This could be hugely beneficial in the fact that it would scrap the points deduction system for people going overboard on their spending, which we all know is absolutely ridiculous. It's well and truly outdated, and it is absolutely killing the Premier League as well. We're seeing it, with the January transfer window. It was absolutely dead. They had to talk about Lewis Hamilton instead of talking about football. Sky Sports were absolutely livid that there was hardly any transfers done during that window. So this would hugely benefit, the likes of Sky Sports and other media outlets as well on transfers during transfer windows. There would actually be transfers getting done as well. So it would benefit, on them side of things. But it would also benefit the clubs as well, because this system, like I say, it would be scrapping the points deduction for going overboard on your spending. Instead, looking to bring in a system like the NBA, like the NHL, like the NFL, and like the MLB, of course, where if you spend too much, you have to pay a fine. Of course, there is also a caveat to it as well, in the fact that even if you don't pay the fine, you could still choose to press on regardless. But the more you spend, then the more the fine will be. As in, if you spend way more than what you can earn, then obviously that'll be, a bigger fine for people. This comes after the likes of Forest, Everton, Man City, Chelsea, all are getting points deductions. Man City still got 115 charges against them, which is yet to be resolved. Everton are currently in an ordeal with the Premier League over theirs. Nottingham Forest are currently in an ordeal with the Premier League. Chelsea's spent well over £1 billion. They're doing stuff as well. But this could hugely benefit the league. It could hugely benefit, teams that are trying to compete with that top six in the Premier League as well. We've seen the likes of Man City. They've had a chance to build up their commercial revenue over the years. We've seen the likes of Chelsea when they first got their takeover from Roman Abramovich. They were able to build up their commercial revenue. Man U's had a chance to build theirs. Liverpool's had a chance to build theirs. Arsenal's had a chance to build theirs. Tottenham's had a chance to build theirs. So all these teams have had a chance to build up their commercial revenue over the years. And then you've got clubs like ourselves who only got took over, back in the 7th of October of 2021. So we got taken over back then. We haven't had a chance to really build up that commercial revenue that these teams have got, and then you've got other teams like Aston Villa, West Ham, Brighton, teams that are trying to compete at the top, get themselves European football, and they can't do it because they're handcuffed by these limitations of FFP, PSR, as it's being called in the Premier League, and these are holding teams back. It's stopping you from being able to go out there and spend what them teams can spend. And this would be hugely beneficial to teams like that, and as a Newcastle United fan myself, this would be hugely beneficial. It would allow for us to try and close that gap even more. You know, look at what we've done under FFP, under PSR so far. You know, we have closed the gap, but this could close the gap even more if this was brought into the football. And I'm all for it. All it takes is a 14-team vote to get this put in place in the Premier League. There's already 17 teams in the Premier League that are saying that they would vote yes on this. So that is a massive plus going forward. This could also benefit, you know, not only teams like my team, Newcastle, or other teams, you know, like West Ham, Brighton, and Aston Villa. It could also benefit the rest of the Premier League as well, giving other teams a chance to try and compete in the Premier League. It would also benefit the league in a whole, in the fact that you would get a much more competitive Premier League as well. There'd be a much better competition when it comes to title races, European places as well. You know, there'd be a lot more teams competing for them places in the league compared to what we're seeing this season, you know, where, yes, we do have 3 teams competing for the Premier League title this season, but it's still, in my opinion, been the weakest Premier League season. I mean, look at the top goal scorer, you know, in Erling Haaland. He's only got 18 goals. Look at the points tally, you know, for the teams as well. Newcastle's around the 40-point mark. That's usually what you would have just to try and survive in the Premier League in the relegation battles. So that shows, you know, what kind of competition it is this year. It's not the best. It's not exactly, you know, what the Premier League is used to. This would also benefit, you know, like I said before, people like Sky Sports and the media outlets. It would benefit them in the fact that it would bring better TV deals going forward as well for the Premier League, which would mean more money for the Premier League. Of course, they are saying that there could be some sanctions still left in place, in the fact that they could go along and add in some sanctions like the NFL and the NHL have, of course, where they do have a hard salary cap, which would mean that, of course, clubs are not allowed to exceed that salary cap. So if everybody, you know, from Man City all the way down to, at the moment, you know, Sheffield United in the league could have a hard salary cap that is all on the level playing field with each other, then of course that would allow, you know, for everybody to stay really competitive in the league, keep the league really competitive as well. And if you do go beyond that salary, if of course people did go beyond that salary, then of course there would be a fine implemented in place. This is just my opinion on that part. Of course, that isn't what's being talked about there. They are saying that there is a hard salary cap that could be put in, but my opinion would be that if you do exceed that, then there would be possibly a fine put on, you know, that could then say that trickled into the likes of the EFL, League One, you know, and so far down, and the fines as well. They are saying that, you know, anybody that does do the fines, of course, and spends the money, that could then, you know, go to the teams who comply with the rules. You know, and then there would be an emergency fund as well to assist the clubs in the EFL. You know, teams that are in financial danger. We'll have to see, you know, teams like Bury. We've seen other teams as well that have ended up going out of business because of, you know, not having the funds down in that league. But hopefully, you know, it does turn out to be approved, because it does sound really, really good. It does sound like this will be hugely beneficial to not only, you know, the teams like my team Newcastle or West Ham or Brighton or Aston Villa, or that, you know, it will also be beneficial to the whole of the Premier League and the whole of the English football system as well, if them fines are then, you know, put down into them other leagues as well, to help them teams out and give them teams a chance to try and compete and to try and get to, of course, the promised land, which is the Premier League, you know, the land of milk and honey, as it's talked about for many, many years, you know, the place where every single owner wants to have their team play in the Premier League, the greatest league in the world. And at the moment, with the way the system is, with the FFP, with the PSR, the way it is at the moment, the Premier League is not looking like the Premier League. It's going to be, of course, dropping down if we continue on this same path that we are on at the moment. Anyway, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you agree with what I've said in this video today, please do hit that like button, and I'll see you all for the next one, which of course will be the match preview a little bit later on today, and I'll see you in the next one. Well, lads.